Afonso V kg, called the African, was king of Portugal and the Algarves. His sobriquet refers to his conquests in northern Africa. Early life. Afonso was born in Sintra, the eldest son of King Edward of Portugal by his wife, Eleanor of Aragon. Afonso V was only 6 years old when he succeeded his father in 1438. During his minority, Afonso V was placed under the regency of his mother in accordance with a will of his late father. As both a foreigner and a woman, the Queen was not a popular choice for regent. Opposition rose, and without any important ally among the Portuguese aristocracy other than Afonso, Count of Barcelos, the illegitimate half-brother of King Edward and Count of Barcelos, the Queen's position was untenable. In 1439, the Portuguese Cortes decided to replace the Queen with Peter, Duke of Coimbra, the young king's oldest uncle. Peter's main policies were concerned with avoiding the development of great noble houses, kingdoms inside the kingdom, and concentrating power in the person of the king. The country prospered under his rule, but not peacefully, as his laws interfered with the ambition of powerful nobles. In 1442, the king made Afonso I Duke of Braganza. With this title and its lands, he became the most powerful man in Portugal and one of the richest men in Europe. To secure his position as regent, Peter had Afonso marry his daughter, Isabella of Coimbra, in 1445. But on the 9th of June 1448, when the king came of age, Peter had to surrender his power to Afonso V. The years of conspiracy by the Duke of Braganza finally came to a head. On the 15th of September of the same year, Afonso V nullified all the laws and edicts approved under the regency. The situation became unstable in the following year, being led by what he afterwards discovered to be false representations. Afonso declared Peter a rebel and defeated his army in the Battle of Alfarrobera, in which his uncle was killed. After this battle and the loss of one of Portugal's most remarkable infantis, the Duke of Braganza became the de facto ruler of the country. Invasion of Morocco. Afonso V then turned his attentions to North Africa. In the reign of his grandfather, John I, Ceuta had been conquered from the King of Morocco, and now the new king wanted to expand the conquests. The king's army conquered Alcácer, Sega, Tangiers and Arzelia. These achievements granted the king the nickname of the African or Africano. The king also supported the exploration of the Atlantic Ocean led by Prince Henry the Navigator, but after Henry's death in 1460, he did nothing to continue this course of action. Administratively, Afonso V was a passive king. He chose not to pursue the revision of laws or development of commerce, preferring instead to preserve the legacy of his father Edward and grandfather John I. In 1452, Pope Nicholas V issued the papal bull Dum Diversis, granting Afonso V the right to reduce Saracens, pagans and any other unbelievers to hereditary slavery. This was reaffirmed and extended in the Romanist Pontifex Bull of 1455. These papal bulls came to be seen by some as a justification for the subsequent era of slave trade and European colonialism. When the campaigns in Africa were over, Afonso V found new grounds for battle in neighboring Castile. In 1474, King Henry IV of Castile died without a male heir. From his 2 marriages, only a daughter, Joanna of Castile, had been born. But her paternity was questioned, and it was rumored that the Queen, Joan of Portugal, had an affair with a nobleman named Beltrán de la Cueva. The birth of Princess Joanna in 1462, openly called La Beltraneja, caused the separation of her parents. She was never considered legitimate, and when the king was dying, no one took her as a serious contender for the crown. Her father's half-sister, the future Queen Isabella I of Castile, was due to inherit the crown, but Afonso V was persuaded to intervene in the succession. In 1475 he married his niece Joanna, whom he considered the legitimate heir to the crown. He proclaimed himself King of Castile and Leon and prepared to defend his wife's rights. After the indecisive Battle of Toro in 1476 against King Ferdinand II of Aragon, the husband of Isabella I of Castile, he went to France to obtain the assistance of Louis XI, but finding himself deceived by the French monarch, he returned to Portugal in 1477. Disillusioned, he abdicated in favor of his son, John II. After this, he retired to a monastery in Sintra where he died in 1481. Marriages and descendants. Afonso was first married to his cousin Isabella of Coimbra in 1447. Isabella died in 1455 and Afonso married again in 1475, this time to Joanna of Castile, daughter of Henry IV of Castile and Joan of Portugal. This marriage was an attempt to inherit the throne of Castile as Joan was the sole daughter of Henry IV. Afonso's attempts to take over the throne of Castile were not successful after he lost a short war with Isabella of Castile and Ferdinand of Aragon. Ancestry.